Welcome back to our deep dive series. Today, we're unpacking a concept that sounds simple, maybe, but it's often this kind of silent killer for online experiences. It's called the paradox of choice. So our goal here is to explore why having, too many options can sometimes lead to, well, making no decision. And this isn't just like abstract theory. It's stuff you run into constantly, every single day.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of amazing once you start noticing it. You see it everywhere, right? Trying to pick a movie on Netflix or whatever streaming service
Yeah,
you use.
guilty.
Or scrolling through endless restaurants on a delivery app. Or just online shopping. It's really fundamental, especially now with everything digital. I mean, I know I've personally spent like 20 minutes scrolling, and then just given up, watch nothing. That's it right there. So the paradox of choice, basically. It's when having too many options just overwhelms people. They kind of freeze up, put off the decision. Decision paralysis, really. And the why is interesting. It's not just visual clutter. It's the mental effort, the cognitive load of trying to weigh everything up. Plus, there's this fear, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of regret. And that can just stop you in your tracks. Let me paint a picture. Imagine walking into a physical store, like maybe a huge electronics store, right? So many phones. Or think about maybe a sari shop, if that's more relatable for some listeners. Just hundreds of designs.
Yeah, I can picture that.
You're just faced with, well, hundreds of options, different features, slight variations. You stare, you try to compare, maybe pick a few up. And then after like 20 minutes, you just feel confused, maybe a bit stressed, and you walk out empty-handed.
Saying, I'll come back tomorrow.
Exactly. I'll look again later. That's the paradox in action. And it's precisely why, a website landing page probably shouldn't throw 10 different click here buttons at you or show 12 product options right off the bat.
That's a really vivid analogy. Makes perfect sense when you put it like that. So, okay, let's bring that directly to the digital world then. How does this choice overload really hit websites? Especially e-commerce sites, where I think the assumption is usually more choice is always good for the customer.
Yeah, you've really hit on the key misconception there, that common belief, more options equals a better experience. But the reality, actually, it's often the complete opposite. More choices can frequently lead to a worse user experience and definitely lower engagement or sales. There's this classic study that shows this really well. You might have heard of it, from Columbia University. They did it in a supermarket with jam.
Jam. Okay, tell me more.
Right, jam. So one day, they set up a tasting booth with 6 different types of jam. Just 6. And on that day, about 30% of the people who stopped and tasted actually bought a jar of jam. Pretty good conversion.
Okay, 30%. Makes sense.
But then on another day, they changed it. They offered 24 different types of jam. Much more choice, right?
24? Wow. So sales went up?
Nope. They plummeted. Sales dropped dramatically. Only 3% of people who tasted actually bought jam that day.
3%. Down from 30. It's huge.
Huge difference. People were just, overwhelmed. They couldn't decide. The sheer number of choices basically killed the conversion rate. Makes you wonder if anyone ever bought a jam again after that experience, eh?
That is stark. So beyond just, the shock of that number, what was the main psychological thing happening there, do you think? What can businesses really learn from that failure to choose?
Well, it circles back to what we said earlier, that cognitive load and the fear of regret. With just 6 jams, it's manageable, right? You can compare them quickly, feel pretty confident picking one. But with 24, your brain just goes, whoa, hang on, that's too much work. And the fear kicks in. What if I pick one that's not the best one? What if I regret it? So the easiest path is no decision. Just walk away. So the takeaway for businesses, for designers, is pretty clear. First, maybe show fewer options initially. Curate things carefully.
Right, guide the user a bit.
Exactly. Guide them. Use clear suggestions, things like top picks or recommended for you or bestsellers. It's not about hiding choices completely, but about making that initial decision less daunting. You can always let people filter or dig deeper if they want to. And this really shows that effective design isn't just, making things look pretty on a screen. It's fundamentally about understanding human behavior. It's applied psychology, really, focused on driving actual results, conversions, getting people to actually do something like buy or sign up, not just theory.
Yeah, this has been really eye-opening, thinking about why, counterintuitively, more isn't always better when it comes to choice. It definitely changes how you look at browsing online, or even like menus in restaurants.
Absolutely. It's everywhere. So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to sort of chew on. How can you maybe design less to actually convert more? Not just online, but maybe even in the choices you present to others in everyday life. Something to think about.